Hello, my name is Bradley and I'm your host of The Internal Game. So, you guys hear me all the time say that, hey, that's just a thought. Just a thought, right? Just a thought. You don't have to identify with it. Shit, it's just a thought. You don't have to buy into it, right? Just a thought, just a thought. Because at a core level, it is just a thought, right? And every now and again, I will get questions. They're like a bunch of questions that are like in the same ballpark. And I will make a video to answer it. And like, so what I see as of late is like, people say, okay, I get that, right? I get that it's just a thought, but like, what do you do when like the 3D's rocking you? Or what do you do with like but when the person's doing this in reality, that when actual reality, it's not just a thought, it's in reality. And I'm like, okay. I understand. It's challenging. Right? We grow up thinking that it's outside first, right? That the outside matters. And then we learn some stuff about this and it's like, okay, well, it's inside first, right? As within, so without, inside first, outside second, right? But like, are we really buying into it? I would ask myself that question if I was having trouble reacting to the 3. Am I really buying into this is all coming from me? Because what's happening out there is a reflection. It's not reality. It's not reality at all. It's the projection of your inner state, things you believe to be true, story you've told, what you've been entertaining. That's it. And even if person is doing something that's not really like ideal in your mind, like it's still your thoughts about this scenario that are causing you the trouble. It's not the actual scenario. I know it may seem that way, but it's all, the situation's always neutral. It's your thoughts about it that are causing the suffering or the excitement. But it's neutral. And I was talking about this in a one-on-one the other day. It was like, if somebody had like if their person like kissed somebody else or something, right? They'd be like devastated, right? But there's also people out there that like kind of like the idea of their person kissing somebody else, kind of does something to them, right? There's no right or wrong. It's just not a universal negative. You know what I mean? Like it's two different meanings to the same type of like action scenario, right? Anyway, so I'm not saying that like your person's gonna do that or anything like that. I'm just trying to make a point here that like it's the meaning that you assign to these things, it's your thoughts about these things that like that actually are upsetting. It's not the actual scenario, right? And this is with anything. So when I say things like just a thought, like the idea is to stop buying into a story and creating a bunch of meaning as to the outside. Like it's already played out. Like things are there because of you, right? Is what it is. And if you want the change, you have to really, really, really at like a real core level understand that this is inside first, outside second. That reality is actually inside. Everything's coming from you. All right? It's there because of you. So like when we create stuff that's unfavorable and find ourselves in situations where we're like, fuck, this is not like ideal, to react to it, to buy into it and give it meaning that this means I'm never gonna get my person. This means that like money's not coming. This means I'm fucked. This means I'm not doing something right. All this stuff, right? When really, it's your thoughts about it that are causing that. It's the meaning that you're assigning to it. Meaning you're assigning to a thought, and then the meaning you're assigning to the scenario. That's actually hurtful. And if it's coming from you, it can change because you can change. And when you change, the outside will change because the outside is coming from you. And that's why I always talk about the importance of like, if there's two things you should know for sure, is that one is this is an inside game. So inside first, outside second. That's it. If you really bought into that, like kind of like Neville said, if you really believe that imagination creates your reality, what's there to be concerned about? Right? So if you are concerned about some things and worried about some things, like I would check the belief of like, do I really believe that this is coming from me? Do I really believe that like, do I really trust in this law? And granted, I get that it is a bit more challenging when you're in these states of fear and states of like, worry and really just unstable states, right? But that leads me to the second thing that you really should know. That like, you're believing stuff that's not true, and these things are just thoughts. And even the thoughts that you think about yourself and the world and all this stuff are still just thoughts. They are not you. Even a favorable identity is still not you. You know, you are God. You are the I am. You are consciousness in general. All right, so we have to make identities for ourselves. and then like believe that's who we are, and then we see that experience. But nonetheless, it's still an identity. It's not who you are. So even thoughts about that, even favorable thoughts about yourself are still not who you are. You're much larger than that. That's why Neville Goddard said, your self-concept or your viewpoint of self is the most important viewpoint that you can have, right? Because he knows that everything's coming from this. But he also was like, but you are infinitely greater than who you think you are. Because like many videos that I've made, your mind can't fathom how wonderful, how great, how everything that you actually are, right? And that's okay. But you are, okay? So when it comes to the 3D whooping ass, right? And like you're like, no, it's just beating me up. It's not beating you up. Your thoughts are beating you up. You believing in your thoughts are rocking you. You not believing in your own power. You not believing in it's inside first, outside second is rocking you. The 3D is not. And almost all the time, or actually all the time, like you were fearful about it before it happened. You had already lived some form of experience before it happened. I told you, so why I left my wife, because I was like, dude, I believed in this law. I just couldn't stop the fear. And I was like, dude, I'm going to leave because like I'm going to create this. I know it, and I can't stop. I can't stop being fearful because like I was already living the internal experience of her leaving, finding somebody else, all this stuff, thinking I wasn't the best, all that stuff, right? Like nonetheless, like I just was already living that internally, and in due time it was going to be expressed, and like I just knew that I just couldn't stop it, right? But it's no different than like if she would have left me, or if someone has left somebody, ghosted somebody, all that stuff. Like the experience was already lived internally. A lot of the challenging part too is like, okay, but they're not in my physical reality. So how do I assume that we're together? And it's like, okay, the same way that you assume that they weren't into you, the same way you assume that they weren't, that they were up to no good, the same way that you assume that like they were ignoring you, all this stuff, and creating a bunch of meaning to an unfavorable end when they were in your physical. And then what happened? They played out your internal reality because they have to, because it's law. It's the same thing. Maybe they're not in your physical, okay, but like the physical is not reality, inside's the reality. So you start telling the story of how you want things to be as if they're happening now, ideally from stable states. And you do this by not buying into thought and really getting yourself stable and realizing these thoughts are not you, and then telling a story of how you want things to be. Talking about yourself, how you want to, how you things that you want to experience, things like that. But really take a look at your belief in inside first, outside second. Because if you want to talk, when people say like 3D's whooping my ass, right? Okay, fair enough. But what's actually happening right now in that moment in 3D? In that moment, is it your thoughts that are tormenting you, or is it the actual 3D? Like, are you really seeing your person with somebody else right there in front of you? Or are you sitting on your couch worried? Or are you like sitting on your couch and you saw something and now you're sitting on your couch or in your kitchen, whatever, and you're playing that scenario over and over and over again in a fearful state? Did somebody tell you something, the SP tell you something, or their friend tell you something about SP, or the SP told you that they don't ever want to talk to you again, and then you took that and said, this is 3D happening right now, it's kicking my ass, and then what's happening though is you're actually probably just sitting on your couch playing that scenario over and over again, creating a bunch of meaning as to why you're not going to get them, why they don't like you, what happened, where you went wrong, why you're not good enough, why they're amazing and they're not going to choose you, all this stuff that are thoughts that you're buying into. Again, the situation is neutral. I'm not saying that some of the stuff that you may be seeing is not, or isn't like unfavorable. I get it, but like it's still nonetheless your thoughts about it that is tormenting you. So, just a thought is transformative, powerful, because you're reclaiming your own consciousness from your mind, from the incessant negative thinking. Being so wrapped up in every thought and making every thought important, and it just has to be thought about and believed, and it's not true. So 3D, what's actually happening is whatever you're doing right now. Now, granted, you want to use your imagination to create, you want to use your mind to create, but if as long as you're attached to every thought that you got in your highly identifiable mind, you are not using your mind. Your mind is using you. And until you create some space between you, like between what you actually are and how you've been being, and stop identifying with all these thoughts that are related to how you've been being, you're gonna feel rocked. You're gonna feel unstable. You're gonna feel like that 3D's really just slapping you in the face. And it's actually not. Nothing can actually hurt you. It's your thoughts that are hurting you. So, anyway, I just wanted to answer that question because I get it. Like, it's like, dude, I get it, man. You're saying, Bradley, I get it. You're saying it's just a thought. I can see how that would work. But right now, this is actually happening. It's like, no, that's played out. And not only is it played out, now that it's playing out, or is pretty much on its way out, you get to decide if it actually is on its way out, or if you keep it there or make it worse. By how you're thinking about it, by the meaning that you're assigned to it, by the state of being that you're in. You can start by saying, okay, this is just a thought. I don't have to be fearful anymore. I'm gonna start not believing my thoughts. I'm gonna get stable. I'm gonna really, really realize and take a shot at this. That like inside first, outside second. I need to bet on this. If I don't want to bet on this, why am I still watching these videos? Why am I still intrigued? Why am I still being pulled to law of assumption? Why do I still think about this stuff? Like, why am I not doing it? Right? Because the only way you're really going to prove it to yourself is to actually do it, to actually start living internally how you want the outside to be, because the outside is only a reflection of you. Whether you're creating an experience of a 3P, whether you're creating an experience of being ghosted, or whether you're creating an experience of getting married, proposed to, all this other stuff, either way, it needs to be, like, it is done internally and then reflected out there. It is first experienced internally and then projected, then pushed out, right? Everyone is yourself pushed out. Like, think about that, pushed out. Pushed out. You do it here, and then it's pushed out. You entertain it here, it's pushed out. That's it. So, but don't really try to think about that for a second. Like, is what's actually happening dreadful, or is it your thoughts about it and all the meaning you assign to it, and like the doom type ending stories that you came up with in your head that, like, is that what's hurting you? It's always the thoughts. Everything's neutral. No good, no bad. What's one way for one, another person may not like. It's not universal. The law is universal. And that law is that it's inside first, outside second, as within, so without. Whatever you're doing internally will get pushed out. I was like, nice rhyme. Inside first, outside second, as within, so without. Everything you're doing gets pushed. Everything you're doing inside gets pushed out, right? Anyway, nonetheless, keep it simple. Tell the story internally. Create the experience internally, like you have been doing. It's just this time more favorably, and it's going to be a lot easier to do when you get stable by not buying into every thought that you get. You have to stop being a certain way, because that way you've been being is created what you're so scared of in the 3D now. But you're already scared before. You know what I'm saying? Like, the 3D didn't really do anything besides show you. You were already scared before. You were already worried before. You were already incomplete before. You were already feeling not good enough before. And then it got proven to you, and you're like, oh, this sucks. I get it, I've been there. But like, it just showed you. That's it. So the 3D's not beating you up. The 3D's reflecting you. And then your thoughts about it are what's beating you up. Your thoughts about before it happened is what was beating you up, and then it got reflected. But don't sink your teeth. Is it sink your teeth? Sink your claws. Sink your claws. Sink your claws. Yeah. Into the 3D, because it's reflection. 3D's not beating you up. These things are just thoughts. Seriously. Okay, that's all I got. See you guys soon.